Am I the a-hole for marrying my brother's ex-wife and considering adopting his child after he abandoned both of them? I, 28 male, have been dating my brother's ex-wife, 30 female, for the past 3 years. My brother married his ex-wife 8 years ago, but after she got pregnant, he didn't want the child and forced her to abort. She didn't want to, so he just divorced her in just 1 year and gave up all his rights. My then sister-in-law was devastated. She was a single mother, and my brother does pay alimony and child support. We were all childhood friends and lived in the same neighborhood. What she saw in him that she married him so early. My brother is a POS, he bullied me as well. He is a golden child, after all. So I supported my sister and friend throughout her pregnancy and helped my nephew as well. He never saw his father because he never met him. So 3 years ago, we started dating. We never told any of our family members, and I moved in with her. We avoided telling anyone to not create any problems, so a week ago, my brother came to his ex's place, and he was shocked to see me and asked me what I was doing here, and we had no choice but to tell him the truth. He was very mad at me, and he hit me and started screaming at me. How could I do this to him? After a bit of fighting, he said he came here to reconnect with his ex and become a part of his child's life, and he didn't know that I was a scumbag enough to do this to him. My now girlfriend threatened him to leave, and she didn't want anything to do with him. He screamed at both of us and called us lovely names. In the end, we both threatened to call the cops if he didn't leave, so he finally left. Now all my family members, mom, dad, and grandson, are saying I shouldn't have had such a relationship with my brother's ex, and I'm a scum, and they are ashamed of me. I should break up with her so my brother can be with his wife and child, and I'm an obstacle. I told them that we were going to tell them soon and that we were planning to get married this year or early in 25, and they called me names and threatened to cut contact and wouldn't attend the wedding. My girlfriend is saying to not mind them, that we will get married even if it's just the two of us, and to report my brother for what I did. So, am I wrong for doing this? Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she doesn't look good at her current weight? I know it sounds bad, but please hear me out before you call me a bastard. My wife, who is 33, had a baby girl 7 months ago, and I'm deeply concerned about her health. Some context is that my wife has a long history with anorexia and was hospitalized for the eating disorder twice. The first time was in high school, and the second time was in law school. I met my wife in college, and so I saw her go through it the second time, and it was terrifying. Basically, what my wife told me is that it isn't about weight or looking a certain way for her. She got sick the first time after her mother died suddenly, and obsessing so much about her weight keeps her mind off the things that were actually bothering her. Before we had our daughter, my wife was doing much better. She ate a normal amount, worked out a few times a week, and didn't weigh herself or make efforts to lose weight. Here's the crux of the current problem. My wife decided to take a year off work to be with the baby. Initially, I thought this was a good idea, but now I think it was a huge mistake. She's home alone with the child all day and has all the time in the world to think about losing the baby weight. When my wife first told me she wanted to lose the baby weight, I figured it was a normal response to having a baby since your body changes so much. But then I noticed the weight was coming off really quickly, and she's now probably 20 pounds skinnier than she was before having the baby. I've noticed a lot of really strange habits. She cooks lavish meals for me and bakes all the time, but refuses to eat carbs during the week and makes herself a different dinner. She's obsessed with fitness influencers and has started rewatching The Biggest Loser for the first time in years. A few months ago, I checked her Fitbit and realized she was moving at least 10 miles per day, which is crazy considering she was with an infant. I asked my wife about this, and she said she just likes going on walks with the baby, and running on the treadmill helps her ease stress from being with the baby all day. She's since suffered from a stress fracture in her ankle and sobbed when she found out she wouldn't be able to run anymore for a few months. She seems to be compensating by eating even less. I've had multiple conversations with my wife expressing concern, but she insists she's just taking care of her body and she has more time to work out now that she's on maternity leave. Whenever I ask if she's okay or suggest she talk to a therapist, she gets defensive and says I'm being overly protective. A few weeks ago, we went to my parents' house for dinner, and my mother looked visibly shocked when she saw my wife. She pulled me aside and told me my wife looked sick. In addition to basically being skin and bones at this point, she's cold all the time, her fingers are blue, and her hair is falling out. It's clear she's not well, but she refuses to acknowledge there's a problem or that any of her habits are unhealthy. Anyway, last weekend was our anniversary. My parents took the baby, and we went and stayed downtown for a few nights. We don't have many opportunities for sex with the new baby, so it's something we haven't done in a while. My wife tried to initiate it, but she looked so frail that I actually got a bit teary because all I could think about was how she's sick and clearly suffering. I told my wife she's way too skinny and needs to see a therapist because I'm worried sick about her. My wife, once again, accused me of being overprotective and said there was nothing wrong with exercising and wanting to look good after having a baby. I told her she didn't look good at her current weight and that everyone was worried about her. When I said she didn't look good, I meant that it's clear she isn't healthy, but this comment really upset my wife. She was crying, and I wasn't attracted to her anymore. I told her I was concerned and begged her to tell me what's bothering her so much that she needs to starve herself, and she basically asked why she'd tell me after I told her she didn't look good. My wife has shut down even more and won't have a real conversation with me. Am I wrong for making that comment? I'm worried I've made things worse.